Shalom is real. Shalom. Before we get into this word, we first must acknowledge our Heavenly Father, Yahweh, through his only begotten Son, Yahushai, for allowing this word to come out. And I hope you sincere brothers and sisters are truly edified by tonight's word. And we're going to name this word, when the dead is at rest, let his remembrance rest. Let me say it again. When the dead is at rest, let his remembrance rest. Okay? It's very important, man, when we're talking about the subject of death. Death is something that's actually happening at a higher rate than usual. Death is something that we have to come to grips to, that one day we will be gone from this place by way of being in a state of dead or by way of death. There's no way around it. It comes with the territory of life. Okay, you live until you die. And once you die, you're judged. So I just want you sincere brothers and sisters to be conscious of death to the point where when the dead is at rest, let his remembrance rest as well. You have people that have, they honor the dead. Some of us worship the dead. You got a lot of rappers and entertainers, man, especially these young rappers today. They celebrate the dead, they honor the dead, immortalize the dead. And not only that, not just rappers, but just people in general. They have this, keep the memory of the deceased alive forever and whatnot, and according to the Bible, man, you shouldn't do that. When the dead is at rest, his remembrance should be at rest as well. It shouldn't be a thing where you still glamorizing the dead. You're still keeping the dead alive in a sense by way of, celebrating who he was as a person and celebrating his legacy and things of that nature. What you see on the screen is two individuals, okay, that's dealing with coming to the grips of a loved one being at rest, okay? And trust me, man, when the dead is at rest, that's a great place, man. And we shouldn't disturb that person. That person is in peace. So when the deceased is in peace, we should not disrupt that peace. And what would be a great way to disrupt that peace? Extending his life, extending his legacy by way of remembering, recollecting, and just stand in the moment of when he was alive, opposed to allowing him to be at rest, man. We're going to come to you in Sirach chapter 38, verse 23. And it reads, when the dead is at rest, let his remembrance rest, and be comforted for him when his spirit is departed from him. You see that? I mean, that goes without saying, man. When it comes to the dead, who is it talking about? It's talking about the deceased. It's talking about the one that's departed. It's talking about the one that has expired. Okay? The one that's no longer alive. Okay? It says when the dead is at rest. In other words, when the dead is at the state of being in their final sleep. Okay? When the dead is no more moving, When the dead is no more experiencing disturbances, agitation. When the dead is experiencing that place of peace, that place of quietness. That's rest. When the dead is at rest. In Sirach 38:23, it tell you, let his remembrance, let his commemoration, let his memory, let the recognition of him, okay? In other words, exercise the act of recalling the mind of his rest, his state of being in his final sleep. Okay, why? It says, and be comforted for him when his spirit is departed from him. You see that? So now, let's really analyze this. In other words, man, when the dead is laid to rest, let the memory of them fade. And once they are gone, take courage, man. Take courage. Yeah. Simple and plain, man. And Isaiah chapter 65, verses 16 and 17. And I'm just going to read it verbatim. Or let me just say it this way. There were a couple of things that I took from Isaiah chapter 65, verses 16 and 17. And one of the things I took is former troubles are forgotten and hid from the eyes of the Lord. And former things shall not be remembered or come into mind. That's in Isaiah 65, verse 16 and 17. You know why? Because the dead is at rest, man. And in Ecclesiastes chapter 9, verse 5, it tells you the memory of the dead is forgotten. Okay? It's over, y'all. Why? Because he's at rest. He's in the state of being in his final sleep. And we must respect that, man. Honor that. So that's why I want to tell you in Sirach 38:23, when the dead is at rest, let his remembrance rest. Yeah. People really don't understand that when the dead is at rest, man, don't disturb that. You know, I get it. People like to have memorials. People like to have annual celebrations, reminiscing. And hey, I'm not telling nobody what to and what not to do. I'm just telling you, according to Sirach, chapter 38, verse 23, is, man, when he's dead, let him be. Let him be in peace, man. So, listen, man, the spirit, you know, talking about, you know, dying is not, that's not what people are looking forward to talk about today. People are preoccupied with living forever. I'm preoccupied with the thought of dying. Okay? We're more closer to dying than living. So I think we should be a little more conscious of that state of being dead, man, and kind of just set ourselves up for it. Transition ourselves, you know, for that. Again, what's the name of the lesson, man? When the dead is at rest, let his remembrance rest. And that's facts, man. Yeah, it makes no sense to keep carrying on. Okay? It told you, it says, when the dead is at rest, let his remembrance rest and be comforted for him when his spirit is departed from him. See that? So, when he's done, when he's at rest, please don't disturb him. Please. That's all I got for you, man. I hope you sincere brothers and sisters were truly edified. I really hope that you guys were able to get something out of this word tonight. I hope you sincere sisters were edified as well. You know, once again, we must acknowledge our Heavenly Father, Yahweh, through his only begotten son, Yahushua, man, for allowing this word to come out and allow you individuals that come across this video, may the Lord, allow you to be blessed, man. And I hope, if nothing else, man, that you really think about when the dead is at rest, allow his remembrance to be at rest as well. I just think that if it ain't broke, don't fix it. But like I said, you have individuals that, have memorials, have all type of celebrations to keep a legacy of the deceased alive, man. To each his own. Stay prayed up, man. Keep Yahweh through his only begotten son, Yahushua, first in all that you do, man. In all that you do. Put some respect on it and look on the screen, man, and you see what's happening. This is what it looks like when the deceased is laid to rest. This is what it looks like when the deceased is at rest. Painful, painful situation, but hey, man, it is what it is, man. Word.